Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm currently looking for people who want to maybe become soul family online or in real life, who are close by around Germany, in Hessen maybe, and have a place where I could crash. I want to talk about my story. I have a neck injury, and I didn't get a diagnosis for it. There are pictures of it, and for me, it's obvious that like a neck is usually flat, and there's something sticking out which looks like a vertebrae. I remember that I was in Canada and I started to have symptoms like I was very tired all year actually, and now a lot of other symptoms make sense to me. Like I got gray hair really early, which I consider must be due to like maybe blood regulation wasn't working properly in my neck, which could be bullshit, but that's something I came up with. And I came back home to my family where I usually feel lots of pressure anyway, because I always felt like I have to be someone else, do something else, be more productive, you know. And I came back with COVID and I felt really bad. And I remember that day when I couldn't handle the pressure that I had in my neck for quite a while. I also had an aura migraine in December and constant pressure in my neck, and in my head. And my first aura migraine I had last year in January and went to the hospital. They checked everything and they couldn't find anything. And so this year was like, I remember that I overstretched my neck and everyone told me like there's no way you can hurt yourself that much or you can break your own neck. And I'm like, of course not, and I would never consider being able to do that. But I already had pressure, and I already had like symptoms like being really tired all year, and like the aura migraines, the headache, the neck pressure. I had less energy, I had less ability to walk as well. So this year in January, I remember hurting or like overstretching my neck, and then I started to feel numbness in my right hand, and it started to continue. So I went to, in like, when that started, I wouldn't sleep for 1 week because I felt like my legs would go numb. So I felt like if I lay down, my legs fall asleep, which is a really scary feeling, right? So you feel like you're being paralyzed or you go numb and you don't know why, because I didn't remember the overstretching of my neck. And then I went to I was very nervous the whole time. I was very scared, and very like worried. And later, when I remember hurting my neck, I still carry so much guilt and regret with me that it's really like overwhelming and painful. The worst thing is that I am completely alone with that, because nobody believes the actual injury but thinks that I'm mentally ill, or like, not ill, but that it's like not physical but psychological. And I don't feel like I want to die, even though sometimes sometimes we say, oh, I want to go home, I want to meet soul family, and then like maybe the universe is like, okay, here you go, and then you're like, oh fuck, I actually regret that. So it's my biggest regret that I ever wanted to die or said something like that. It's my biggest regret ever. If you don't really want to die, don't say these things, because it takes a while to actually be dead. First of all, especially for a young body, which is even worse, to wish that upon yourself. But also remember that whenever you want to hurt yourself, you hurt others. And whenever we hurt others, we hurt ourselves. I totally forgot that one, and that I have family. And so now my body is basically numb. But I went to a hospital and they checked my neck and said they couldn't find anything, and they said that I'm mentally ill. The other hospital, the one I went first, they checked a lot of things and at least didn't say that I'm mentally ill. And then further on, I went to doctors, so many doctors, and then at some point I was able to get a picture of my neck and was like, okay, that looks weird to me. But they said nothing was broken. And I was like, cool, that's great, but I don't feel my body. I'm still walking, but I'm like a zombie. I don't feel my body. My hands are numb, my feet are numb, my legs are numb, everything is numb, and it was the scariest thing to experience, to go numb and to not know why, which is a nightmare in itself, but not being believed in is the worst. And now you can I'm breathing less deeply. I can't breathe properly. I don't feel my body. Yeah, and I'm kind of still alive, which is weird to me because I feel like I should not be alive. Well, I should be alive, but my whole body is still functioning somehow. And the thing is, I should get a prize for still walking around, but people believe it's in my head and I imagine all these things. But I've imagined a numb body for 3 months now. So yeah, that's all kind of weird, and I'm still alive, thankfully, because I think I should be alive. And the thing is that I'm alone in this, and I don't want pity or anything, but I'm looking for soul family, which is believing my words, because I even have friends who wouldn't believe me because they say if doctors say you're fine, you're fine. And I would never walk around and go around and tell people that they are lying. But they have to lose. They can lose status and money and their job. I'm only losing my life, right? Which is a lot, and it's a very, very precious life I'm living. And I'm looking for people who experience similar things with doctors and they know they are being lied to when it comes to their diagnosis. And I'm looking for people who are maybe nearby and who want to go on a road trip together and help me driving the car, or maybe adopting a dog and live somewhere in nature, have a doggy. It's weird because the more I move my body, the weaker I become. And I actually want to live as long as possible. But in the surroundings where I am at the moment, people want me to get medication, which makes sense because life is really scary at the moment. But it's not the main issue. It's not. People keep telling me you're scared, that's why you have the symptoms. And I'm like, no, no, no. I have the symptoms, that's why I'm scared. And I had the injury first, I had the symptoms first, and that's when I got scared. I had a really dry mouth in the beginning, woke up with a really dry mouth, with like shaking, wet hands and feet and sweaty hands. And I don't know, it's like, it's really scary because usually you think like, okay, when people die, they are sick for a long time, or they are sick, and if they are young, they are usually supported by their family and the family is grieving. And I don't want anyone to grieve or like think I'm dying, but I'm actually in a really weird kind of state. I feel like I'm already like in between kind of. I feel like a zombie. It's really crazy. And whenever I told doctors like maybe it's a broken vertebrae, they laughed at me because I was like still walking around, and I'm like, well, if everyone tells you you're crazy and there's nothing, you just keep walking because you like, I don't feel my legs, but I'm still walking. I remember how you walk, that's why I'm still walking, right? So if anyone is nearby in Hessen and wants to maybe give me a ride or like let me crash, or wants to adopt a dog with me, or just hang, that would be cool. And yeah, that's my story from like why I feel like yeah, that's what's going on with me. If you are listening, thank you for listening, and have a beautiful day. And like, give thanks to everything. Give thanks to your legs and your hands and your arms and your life and your health and food and water and shower and your house and your children and your family, and give thanks to everything, and don't ever take it for granted because it's not. And forgive yourself for making mistakes, but like, be very conscious and present with what you want and your decisions, because you might regret some decisions you make unconsciously. I love you.